Pastor Bob Barker with thechurchcoach.com. And today we're dealing with the 8 paths into people's hearts. And we're using the word reaching as the acronym. And so let's get started with the next lesson. The G in reaching is for guidance. And guidance is obviously a very powerful tool. I mean, you think about it. People are desperate in the world we live in today. They're desperate. They don't know what to do. Life's a mess. It's upside down and backwards. You know what I mean? People are really just, they don't have parents sometimes. They don't have anybody, spiritual, anybody they trust in their life. They're Googling whatever they can to try to find an answer. I mean, the point is, people are desperate. Who do they talk to? They're desperate for answers, for good answers, not just any answers. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 14 says, "Where no wise guidance is, the people fail." So in other words, where there's no guidance, people fail. But in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. People are looking for guidance. They really are. Now I know we think sometimes people don't want to hear what other people have to say. And most of the time it's not they don't want to hear what to say, they just don't want to hear it with attitude. They don't want to hear it in a way that makes them feel stupid or dumb. But people want guidance. They want to know what to do in these difficult times and in these difficult situations. They're looking for marriage guidance. They're looking for parenting guidance. All of us need help once the kids turn 2, terrible 2s. That's one thing. And then they become, they're 7, 8, 9, 10. It's like, whoa. And then once they become teenagers, we're all lost. You know what I mean? And so we need help. And people need financial guidance. Nowadays, you got to make a dollar stretch further. You need to be good budgeting and planning and how to take care of your money and track it and all these things and what to focus on and how to get out of debt. And all these things are big deals to people. And the Bible speaks to every single one of them because it's the most relevant, powerful book in the history of the world because it's God's words. And we have it at our disposal. And we need to realize the greatest guidance we can ever have for our own life, for our team, if we lead a team, for pastors, of course, we already know this, or even as individuals in the church, for yourself, for your husband, wife, for your family, for your workmates, for your life in general. The Bible has the guidance that you need. And the guidance is really just a path into people's lives. In my experience, I have found the number one way to get new people to come into the church, the number one hook, you might say, is to give something away, obviously. $200 Walmart gift card. People come and you give it away and people are excited, they're going to go buy something. Or you give away, a trip, or you give away small things to the children in kids' church. And people come, you put it on the flyer, you make it big, and people come check it out, right? I mean, that's why they come to Easter egg hunts, because why? There's lots of prizes and candy and things to give away. Okay, so giving away is one of the biggest hooks you can ever do, and I use it often. The second biggest hook is that you give guidance to people. You give a good sermon series that is on a particular subject, and you deal with things that people are dealing with in their life, whatever that might be, a current event, something that's transpired. Even like on 911, I remember when 9/11 happened, I was pastoring a church, and I remember the power of the draw for people to come into the house of God because we could give guidance. What should they think about it? How should they feel? They wanted to come pray for the country. It was a big deal. They needed guidance. The whole world's falling apart. And see, for instance, you can do a sermon series on parenting is a powerful one. Anytime you can deal with that subject, you're doing good. The standard I've used a few times in this video, there's a lot of other topics, but you could talk about, raising G-rated kids in an X-rated world. You've heard me mention that. But there are maybe Marriage on the Rocks. There's a great series out there about that. And you know what? People want to succeed as parents. They want to succeed in their marriage. And they're willing to get advice, especially when things are really messed up. They're vulnerable, as long as you come across in the right way. So you can reach out to people who need guidance with finances and starting a business maybe, or even getting through health problems. How do they get through these health problems? Health issues? Yes, they want to pray for a miracle, and you're going to believe for a miracle. And how do they deal with the day-to-day process while they're waiting for the miracle? You can do this through sermons. You can do it through weekend seminars and intensives. You can have classes. You can have it in the church. You can have it in neighborhoods. You can have it in houses. You can do it in lots of different ways. But the point is, you got to find ways to give guidance. Why are self-help books so powerful, number one sellers on the New York Times list? Because people want self-help. They want to know how to get help with their problems. Why are psychics? All of a sudden, when I was a kid, a psychic was, you see once in a while, but now psychics are all over the place, especially in the big cities. It seems like you see these psychics in these little houses, and even it just sign psychic, psychic, psychic. Why? Because people are really interested. They want any kind of guidance they can possibly get. Life coaching. Just type life coaching into the internet. It's amazing how many people are life coaches now. Because people are looking for answers. And you and I, we know the answer. The answer is Jesus. He's the answer to everything. He's the foundation people need in their life. So when the winds blow and the tough times come, they'll know where to go to get the answers. And so I want to give some advice to you today. Some powerful advice. Be careful when you give guidance. It's important. You got to be careful. But I'm not talking about careful about what kind of guidance you give. The Bible makes it very clear that if you'll be in prayer and reading His Word and you're spiritual, when you need the answer, He'll give you the answer. So when I said be careful, I know immediately you thought, well, you got to be careful, to give good advice. Well, you know what? Honestly, I believe that God will help you with that. But you do need to be a little careful about that. But the things that are a bigger threat to you, and the bigger threat to Christians and the church, is that we're not spiritually ready. We haven't prayed up. We haven't read up. We're not really spiritually ready. But number two, that sometimes we're just too pushy. We're pushy. We try to push our way in and make something happen. Don't make it happen. Wait for them to ask questions. If you spend enough time with somebody, eventually they'll ask questions. And you can be vulnerable with them. Be open and vulnerable and don't be prideful. Prideful people aren't open. Well, I had this problem or I had this. It's okay. Tell people I had this problem, I had this challenge. I had stuff that happened in my life before, and God helped me this way or that way. You could truly make a huge difference in people's lives. You got to be vulnerable and realize that you don't know everything and you don't want to act like you know everything. And if you don't have the answer, you'll find the people that do. But don't be so afraid of not having the answers that you don't take a chance. Go slow. Do not overwhelm them with a lot of stuff. There'll be another moment, another time, another opportunity, unless it's a chance meeting somewhere where you don't live. But you know what? Take your time. It's best if you get them to ask the question, like I was saying a few moments ago. And it is. Get them to ask questioning. Now I want to talk to you some specific people. First of all, I want to talk to the marketing team. Ask questions in your marketing. It's very powerful. Remember, people want guidance. They want wisdom. They really do. They want answers to these problems. Life's a mess. So you put out a question, life beating you up? I always wanted to kind of take a car and flip it upside down and put it out in front of my church on a trailer upside down and put a banner across it and say, is life upside down? Because, it'd catch their attention. But those kind of things you can do, and you ask questions that are specific to what people are dealing with. Maybe overwhelmed with kids, overwhelmed with money, whatever the thing you want to talk about. And as you do these things, as you just share things with people and guidance, maybe even need friends, we have lots of them at church so-and-so. The point I'm trying to make, advertisement team, is don't be afraid to state the fact that you've got the answers through God's Word, or God's Word's got the answers, or there is an answer for them at your church. Or make statements that answer questions. That's okay too. But the point I'm trying to make is use all the stuff I've talked about in the graphic design area, but keep in mind these hooks into people's lives, these paths into people's lives. For you pastors out there, realize that your sermons need to be about guidance. The titles need to be about guidance. I'm not saying every sermon. You've got all these different areas I've talked about in Reaching acronym, and you can use any of them. But, it's okay to use guidance. The need for guidance is a powerful path into people's lives. And mostly it's very powerful for the individuals. So I encourage you, stay in God's Word. Stay in prayer. Be ready in season. Keep your eyes open. And be ready to give the wisdom God's given to you as you've dealt with life. Be willing to share that with others, because people need us. Life is a mess, and you can help put it in order for them.